Welcome to the third session of What If. We're asking ourselves 4 important what if questions to see how God can use our small groups to transform our lives and change the world. Last time we focused on the benefits of being honest with each other. How can we help ourselves and help each other if we took off the mask and admitted our struggles? Today we ask, what if we failed? If you spend any time in a small group, you quickly realize the group isn't perfect, and it doesn't take much to fall into stagnancy and failure. And that's painful for everyone involved, but it doesn't have to get to that point. Alan Danielson will be talking to us about how we can use the mistakes, stagnancy, or failure of our group to learn and find new perspective. First, let's look at how this group turned around.
When our life group formed, we just wanted a life group where we could study the Bible, get out and serve in the community, and do something that was more than just meeting once a week.
We had a big mix of people, with everyone being from 20 to 30, some married, some single, some in college, some not.
Our group was really, really strong. We were bonded together, and we were just kind of going through our walk with Christ together. And then our leaders left. They moved to another state, and it just almost felt like people were hurt that they left.
There was kind of like a void, and everybody was kind of unsure of the future of the group.
Everyone tried to keep meeting, and then sometimes people would miss. They just didn't have the motivation to come to group as often as we had before. My husband and I took over leading our group. We stepped up because it was just the thing to do to keep our group going.
Our biggest problem was that we were still trying to be the old group with the old leaders, just because we loved that. That's what we knew. When it started to get stagnant, it was really frustrating in the sense that as a group, I think we were failing each other, and it became more of an obligation more than something everyone was extremely passionate about.
It was pretty frustrating because our group, we were so excited, so passionate. It was the group that was just really on fire.
After they had to move and go to another place, we kind of were figuring out what the group's going to be now, because obviously it can't be the same thing it was before.
We didn't really know what direction to go. We kind of all just decided to keep meeting, but we didn't really have a direction.
We started to feel like, well, maybe we're not doing a good job. Maybe we all need to just split up and go to different life groups. The weekend after we talked to our group, we all participated in a carnival where we all volunteered at our church. And we had a refugee family come out from Iraq, and they had only been in country for a week.
It was interesting to see just God work in all of us and just see that spark. So we all talked about it, we prayed about it, and then we decided to adopt a refugee family.
It's kind of neat to see a different perspective that you've seen from the beginning of the group until now, and you've seen the high points and the low points.
God answered our prayer, and everything got turned around, and instead of letting that failure define us, we let it just drive our passions and our hearts. It's just amazing to see a group of people come back together out of nowhere, all for something that God showed us at a carnival.
We all saw our part in the group, and we all were able to be honest with each other and then start from the very bottom and get involved with something really great.
Great groups are places where we can care for each other, where we can be transparent and honest with each other, and great groups have a faith that says, we're not afraid to fail. We've all failed at times. Maybe you failed in your marriage or in school or your career. You might have failed financially or emotionally in overcoming a habit or addiction or a hang-up. Maybe you failed as a parent or a friend, or maybe you failed as a part of your group. You've lied, gossiped, been a part of a clique, or hurt somebody's feelings unjustly. Failure affects us in 2 ways. First of all, it hurts. Failure stinks. It's just not fun. And it can crush our confidence, our morale, and our self-esteem. On the other side, though, failure helps us. You might wonder how. Well, it helps us learn. It's true that the school of hard knocks is the best teacher. I mean, I'm a much better pastor today and a leader today than I was when I started in ministry nearly 20 years ago. And it's because I've made mistakes and experienced failures. In fact, I hate to admit it, but I was fired from my first full-time position at a church. I was young, I was bold, and I thought I could lead any church to do anything. But I really didn't know anything about leading. I was really, really frustrated in that church, and honestly, they were frustrated with me. And then 3 days before my wedding, I'll never forget it, the personnel committee called me in and they said, "Change and be like us or leave." I couldn't believe it. But it was in that moment that I knew I couldn't be the pastor that they wanted. I could have let the enemy use that failure to define me, and I could have abandoned ministry altogether. But instead, I moved on. I wasn't thinking this at the time, but today I can truly say thank you, God, for that failure, because it helped me learn about the kind of ministry that God wanted me to be a part of. It helped me learn a lot about how not to lead. As individuals, we all have a choice to make. Will I let failure define me, or will I let it drive me? Will I see failure as something to be feared or something to overcome? And in your group, you have to answer those same questions corporately. You can let your failures define your group, or you can let failure drive your group. You can let it brand your group as a bunch of losers or as learners. Do you find yourself saying things like this? Our group is just too cliquish, or our group is working on being more united. Do you say things like, our group is really letting people down, or, you know what, we've made our mistakes and we're learning from them and getting better at supporting each other? Think about these 5 words for a minute. So what if we fail? If we say those 5 words in the form of a question, so what if we fail? Then our group is probably functioning out of a fear of failure, and we're likely to let those failures define us. And if that's the case, we'll find ourselves giving up easily and maybe looking for another group, or worse yet, giving up on groups altogether. However, if we say those words as a statement, so what if we fail? Then our group is pressing on and we're letting our failures drive us. We're learning from our mistakes and growing closer together through them. Here's the truth. Every group fails. So the question shouldn't be, what if we fail? Instead, it should be, what will we learn from our failures? When failure defines us, we give up easily, but when we let our failures drive us, we push through and we become better for the experience. So what if? What if we decided not to hide behind a fear of failure? What if we took steps of faith to move forward by learning from our mistakes and moving on? What if we let God use our group's failures to drive us rather than letting the evil one use those failures to define us? What if we fail? No. Better yet, what when we fail?
Alan has really challenged us to let our life or our group failures drive us rather than define us. I don't know if your group is feeling the effects of some issues, but this is an opportunity to be honest with each other and explore any issues of the group. How can you learn from the problems and grow closer to one another through them? We've all failed in life. That's why God sent His Son to redeem us. This is a comforting thought. We'll never be perfect, and we shouldn't expect those around us to be perfect. In times of failure, small groups should be a place of forgiveness and grace. See you next time when we'll take a look at the question, what if we got off the couch?